Well, VeeCon kicks off today in sunny Los Angeles. Very different vibe than New York City. It is a multi-day conference meets festival started by entrepreneur and investor Gary Vaynerchuk. VeeCon is going to feature discussions and performances from prominent figures in entertainment, business, tech, and pulp culture. Some of the featured speakers are Howie Mandel, will.i.am, Danica Patrick, Flavor Flav, Ashley Graham, Nick Cannon, Poppy Harlow. The list goes on. You've even got Grammy Award-winning singer, rapper, and producer T-Pain. He's going to be performing. Joining me now live from Los Angeles is Vayner Chairman and VeeFriends CEO Gary Vaynerchuk, as well as comedian and America's Got Talent judge Howie Mandel. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining me today. Really appreciate it. Gary, I just want to, start off. You're in LA, my old stomping grounds. It's year 3 of VeeCon. What's the theme this year, and how is it going to be different than the 2 previous iterations?
Well, thank you so much for having me, and Howie, thank you for being a part of this. I think the theme is going to be top of mind topics in business and pop culture. So I expect a lot of people talking about influencer marketing. I think a lot of people are going to talk about live shopping. I think people are going to talk about social media best tactics. And then you're going to have kind of the top line macro stuff, perspective, humor, the value of humor, the value of art. And so what we're trying to do is really make the coolest business conference. So obviously we have a wide range of pop culture icons and legends like Howie, but also a lot of business talk and CMOs and CEOs from companies. And so pretty excited about it.
Well, business is always cool, Gary, but I hear you on trying to make it
I agree. Look, but I go to so many of these business conferences, and as you just rattled off those names, it makes me feel good in my stomach that I know for the broader population that's watching right now, these are people that people know. Totally. I nerd out and you nerd out on CMOs and CTOs at these conferences, but broadening it, I think, makes it fun.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I always love to hear T-Pain perform, so that's a good one. Howie, I'm curious about your involvement in this. I looked up your talk name. It says Howie Talks About Stuff, so very, very descriptive. Right. What are you going to be talking about at the conference? Yes, very specific.
I have a philosophy that kind of adhered me to be a huge fan and follower of Gary V, and that is that, everybody looks to the outside for their economy and for their success. And I believe that he has the ability, and we all do, to motivate ourselves to create our own economy, and do well. And I believe that anybody who has at least a 4th grade education and is making minimum wage has the opportunity to do much better than they think they can do. And I'm speaking from experience in the sense that I don't have a GED. And my skill set was the ability to put a rubber glove on my head. But I found ways and continue to find ways through my philosophies to kind of create my own little bubble of an economy that would be perceived as successful.
Mm. Well, and clearly you've been very successful. And even if you don't have that background in business, I was looking at some of the companies that you've invested. So Proto, which is an AI hologram company, kind of trying to revolutionize the way we communicate for viewers. We could beam someone into the studio and I could talk with them live in a hologram form. I'm curious.
But even more than that. Even more than that, so I found that on Instagram, on social media. I found David Nussbaum, who has this company, and I thought, oh, great, a hologram. I'm a germaphobe. I can go and tour now without actually going and tour. I could be every place. And then when I saw the technology, I said, it's more than that. This is e-commerce. This is education. This is the ability to interact and engage in every industry there is, so much so that I decided to invest in it and sit on the board, and their head office is located at my location, at my offices here in Los Angeles. But that's not what Gary preaches, and I think the whole concept is this open-mindedness, this ability to, there aren't any rules, and there's no way that something should be done. And we are incredibly creative, wonderful species that can find ways. This technology that you're looking at right now is just a great canvas, a technical canvas for if you have a need and you have something you want to do. We're partners with people like Christie's who found that this is increased business. They've done over $2 billion worth of business in art auctions, and they don't have to fly a piece of art there. They don't have to insure it.
Right.
I could show
there's
up
so many different,
not only at one location, I could show up at 30 locations. But so that's just a piece of some of the stuff that I will talk about. And it's just being open-minded and breaking rules.
Yeah.
And I think that's what VeeCon stands for.
Yeah, well, and so, to that point, Gary, I think what's kind of interesting is that I was looking at some of the different panels. There's a lot of focus on NFTs sparking excitement or re-excitement in Web3 is a focus. A lot of folks, though, are kind of saying, I don't know, riskier assets, especially with what's happening in the economy. I'm not sure if I want to go there. So how are you trying to excite people, and what's the messaging going to be around that space this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, to be frank, I'm not sure, you're talking to somebody who made videos that said 99% of NFTs were going to go to zero. Like alternative assets like art or sneakers or trading cards or wine or NFTs, I'm not sure that I'm interested in exciting people. I'm interested in exciting people to be educated about the things they decide to diversify their investing in or things of that nature. Real estate is exciting or it's not. There's plenty of good deals in Wall Street or they're not. So I think what really the conference is about is not only in Web3 and blockchain, and obviously everything in the macro economy right now, especially this week, is dealing with what it's dealing with. This is about educating people for optionality. I'm kind of agnostic. You want to keep just money in your bank account and get very little interest on it, like Mazel Tov, knock yourself out. To me, being educated of everything you can do is an important variable. And I think that speaks to what Howie was talking about possibility, but not to the point that I think a lot of people, when they look at the counter, I think anything that's delusional, anytime you're investing in anything you don't understand. I had a conversation yesterday with a big executive in LA and he goes, I don't understand Bitcoin. I'm like, good, that's why you shouldn't invest in it. There's many things I don't understand. I don't understand most things, which is why I don't invest in them. But I understood early social media startups like Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat and Uber, and a lot of people didn't. They didn't invest. I did, and those worked out for me.
Yeah, well, and to your point, and the point of the conference this weekend, that's why you educate yourself so that in the future, you can determine if that investment is correct. Gary, Howie, really appreciate your time